Okay, let's see if we can get through one of these skits.
Sketches. Davey, please.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're unveiling the true story behind the wild, chaotic, and legendary first episode of NBC's Saturday Night Live.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
SNL enters existence because Johnny Carson wants more time off.
They want you to fail. They're betting on it.
That's logical, Dick. That's why they're paying us all to be here.
NBC makes more money playing reruns of The Tonight Show. I mean, we're 90 minutes of live television by a group of 20-year-olds who've never made anything.
Before the age of streaming, before anyone could watch anything at any time, one man ruled the airwaves, Johnny Carson. His Tonight Show lasted for almost 30 years, airing from October 1962 to May 1992. Finding his schedule punishing, Carson requested that Tonight Show reruns be moved from weekend nights to some weeknights.
What do you mean you don't get any respect? Now, what do you call that?
The only place over here,
Right
Johnny,
here?
the only place right here I get some respect. They're very nice here. And how you been, okay?
I'm fine. How are you? I was going to ask you that.
Oh, yeah?
NBC, seemingly under the impression that the legendary late-night host was threatening to move to a rival network if his demands were not met, promptly began to brainstorm. Herbert Schlosser, NBC's then president, was tapped to fill the hole that Carson would be leaving, tasked with spicing up the network's poorly rated Saturday night programming lineup.
Okay, let me do a commercial. We'll be right back here. So stay where you are.
Enter Dick Ebersol and a young Canadian named Lorne Michaels.
Will all of you be seen every week doing improv or repertoire, or how does it work?
Well, we've got 8, and we're hoping for 2 to really work.
Schlosser's first move was to court Dick Ebersol, NBC's vice president of late-night programming, to solve his Carson conundrum. Schlosser and Ebersol's first move as a unit, bringing on Lorne Michaels, who had been recommended by Paramount Pictures chairman/CEO Barry Diller. Michaels, a Toronto native who had moved to Los Angeles to pursue comedy writing, was later described by Schlosser as being, quote, talented and well-liked, as well as, crucially, well-connected in the comedy world. As detailed in a 2011 Hollywood Reporter profile, quote, over 3 weeks at LA's Chateau Marmont Hotel, Ebersol and Michaels hashed out the latter's blueprint for SNL. High-concept sketches, political satire, news spoofs, short films, and exclusive music performances.
Mr. Ford was on the campaign trail announcing in Detroit that he has written his own campaign slogan. The slogan, if he's so dumb, how come he's president?
Live from New York because there's no other choice.
Well, I was taking a fare to one of those movie premieres, you know the big spotlights?
Where they have the lights in the sky?
Yeah, I
right.
always wondered how they get them so bright, so I went and stared into it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Stared into the light?
Yeah.
For how long?
About a half an hour.
The suits at NBC were skeptical of SNL's chances of making a real cultural splash. A clear example of this was where they decided to broadcast it from. Carson's aforementioned Tonight Show had departed New York City for sunny Los Angeles 2 years earlier, leaving a significant vacancy at NBC's Rockefeller Center production studios. With that in mind, NBC executives gave Michaels the now iconic Studio 8H, which was, at that point, primarily used for the network's election coverage. The future SNL home studio was originally built and intended for radio broadcast, and hosted the NBC Symphony Orchestra from 1937 to 1951. Assembling the not ready for primetime players.
Now, Miss Davis, would you kindly tell the court, in your own words, what the defendant allegedly said to you when he pulled you into the alleyway?
SNL has long been known as a consistently reliable breeding ground for comedy superstars of tomorrow. This was true from the very beginning. The variety show's first cast included instant heavy hitters Gilda Radner, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Chevy Chase, and more. A number of performers had personal connections to Michaels. He personally cast Radner first and brought on Lorraine Newman after working with her on another earlier production. The budding showrunner was initially hesitant to hire John Belushi given his reputation for chaos and unpredictability. He relented after Gilda Radner, along with writers Ann Beats and Michael O'Donoghue, vouched for Belushi.
One hand. Mr. Gressner, but it appears to me as though you do have a left arm there.
No, it's gone. See? Shark bit it off. Nothing there.
No, Mr. Gressner, that's your sleeve. You do have a left arm, and it looks perfectly normal to me.
A completely different kind of SNL.
Here I come.
It seems fair to say that Saturday Night Live has evolved considerably since its early days, when Michaels was devising the blueprint for what he didn't yet know was a veritable comedy empire. The modern SNL adheres to an extremely rigid timeline and format, starting with a cold open, progressing to a monologue, then sketches, musical performances, and so on.
Fancy lady is masquerading with a heart that nobody can see.
However, you would never know this would be the case watching the SNL series premiere on October 11th, 1975. That first episode barely featured host George Carlin. More on his participation in a bit, with non-sketch performances by Andy Kaufman and the Muppets taking up part of the show's runtime, in addition to not one but two musical guests performing separately.
The operator, she tells the time, it's good for a laugh.
Lorne Michaels enlightened amateurs.
Yes, it's New Dad, a radically new concept in family insurance coverage. Within seconds after old Dad is out, we'll have New Dad there to take his place.
From our contemporary point of view, SNL may seem like the safest bet in comedy, as an institution dating back nearly 50 years. However, as Doug Hill and Jeff Weingrad's book Saturday Night, A Backstage History of Saturday Night Live reveals, Lorne Michaels openly declared that, quote, no one who'd ever worked in television before would be hired, and that he was looking to flip the script on typical network TV productions, which he felt had become stodgy and stale.
Why not call your local independent insurance agent today and ask him about our New Dad policy before it's too late?
As such, he sought out, quote, enlightened amateurs, which he defined as, quote, talented renegades from the thriving underground comedy scene who were contemptuous of everything network television in those days stood for. Looking back, Michaels' instincts clearly paid off.
That's New Dad, the only insurance that covers all of their needs.
George Carlin, a dangerous host.
Why is there no blue food? I can't find blue food. I can't find a flavor of blue. I mean, green is lime, yellow is lemon, orange is orange, red is cherry. What's blue? There's no blue.
In case you were still unconvinced that SNL initially had the makings of a colossal flop, even its first host was, let's say, significantly under the influence. Carlin, who by this point had already made a reputation for himself as a hell-raising provocateur, was taken aback by the show's format. A seasoned comedian and expert monologist, he was reportedly unnerved by SNL's extremely loose sketch comedy environment.
The term jumbo shrimp has always amazed me. What is a jumbo shrimp? I mean, it's like military intelligence. The words don't go together, man.
As Hill and Weingrad explain, Carlin, quote, stayed aloof from the proceedings, declining as the week went on the opportunity to appear in any of the sketches he was offered, owing partially to his cocaine use at the time.
Football is played in a stadium. Baseball is played in a park. In football, you wear a helmet. In baseball, you wear a cap.
Against all odds, Michaels was somewhat over-prepared.
Dedication ceremonies for the new Teamsters Union headquarters building took place today in Detroit, where Union President Fitzsimmons is reported to have said that former President Jimmy Hoffa will always be a cornerstone in the organization.
We should qualify that statement by clarifying that, true to SNL's chaotic spirit, even being over-prepared ended up as a stressor for Lorne Michaels. The SNL showrunner, in speaking to Hill and Weingrad, revealed that, quote, one of his nightmares for the first show was that he'd run out of material 30 minutes before it was supposed to go off the air. In a noble effort to get out ahead of that potential problem, Michaels booked 3 stand-up comics beyond Carlin: the aforementioned Andy Kaufman, Valerie Bromfield, and a then little-known actor-comedian named Billy Crystal. Crystal's performance was cut altogether once Michaels had realized that he had overstuffed the show's lineup, reportedly devastating the up-and-comer. Nothing worked.
Nothing from nothing leaves nowhere. You gotta have something if you wanna be with me.
And we are not exaggerating when we say nothing. According to Hill and Weingrad, the show's first full dress rehearsal ran approximately 3 hours long. That's twice as long as NBC had initially planned for.
I learned the truth at 17, that love was meant for beauty queens.
In addition, the show's ancient sound system, which wasn't properly equipped for either comedy or musical performance, was so janky that the audience couldn't hear the performer's dialogue. Dick Ebersol was a vital part of getting the show on air at all, buying off a local event production company's equipment from a concert they had just put on at Madison Square Garden. As if that wasn't bad enough, the show's sets were finished only half an hour before showtime.
I'm not trying to be your highness, 'cause that minus is too low to see.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. John Belushi, ever the rebel.
Repeat after me. I would like to feed your fingertips to the Wolverines.
With almost everything in place, it looked like Saturday Night Live would be able to, at least passably, make it to the airwaves in one piece. Wait, almost?
What do we need this stuff inside the house for?
Okay. That's a very good question.
As you'll recall, Michael's fears that John Belushi would be a major source of headaches were proven right when the animated comic performer refused to sign the contract, reportedly displeased with his compensation of $750 a week. At 11 p.m., just about the time the show's sets were being finished up, Ebersol pleaded with Belushi to sign his contract, to no avail. Belushi's demands were met by Bernie Brillstein, Michael's manager, and the future Animal House star appeared in the evening's first sketch. And just like that, a new age of network television began.
I am afraid we are out. Badgers. Would you accept a Wolverine in its place?
Who's your favorite SNL host? Let us know in the comments below.
Mr. B,
Yes?
congratulations, it's a drone.
It's a drone!
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.